All right, we are on the air. Yo. And today I'm going to continue talking about Trump a bit, but my main focus is about humanity and the process that humanity has in their desire body. Yeah. The aspects where people imagine you grow up and you become 17 or 18, and as you're growing up, you're under the impression that everybody gets married and everybody gets children and everybody goes off to school and you have to finish your 12th grade. And if you're really fortunate and intelligent, then you go on to college. And if you're really fortunate and intelligent, then you go on to higher degrees. Yeah, hopefully a doctorate, hopefully some kind of thing that allows you to be a high person in society, a controlling agent. Yeah, and in that process, we go through a series of manifestations, and they become the life that we live. Yeah, and it manifests in an enormous amount of suffering. Yeah, and an enormous amount of unnecessary processes that move through humanity through and because of their desire body. And in Buddhism, we call that the effect of Mara. Yeah, Mara creates a desire body, and it's based on fear. So it goes to you as an effect of unrequited love, or unrequited joy, or unrequited food when you needed food. Yeah, shelter when you needed shelter. Yeah, friendship when you needed friendship. Some form of right relationship. Yeah, not something that you expect, but something that comes with the nature of life. Yeah, do unto others as you have them do unto you. The difficulty is that in society, people think of it in terms of, I do something for you, you do something for me. And that has nothing to do with do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. But because of the desire body, do something unless you get something for it. Because of the desire body. Yeah. So you're going to find out that that's not good. You're going to wake up to that. And after that happens, you're going to go through a lot. Yeah. And you're going to find yourself really lost. What do I do now? How do I not have expectations, based on my desires, based on my subconscious problems that I've lived out in this life alone, as a child, with parents and people that you have in school and bullies and, just the onslaught of scenarios. And those affect us in our mental, emotional, and physical bodies. And so when we go out into the world, we're really very prepared to be conned. Yeah. And we have no idea that we have that weakness in us, that we can be conned. Because you go through school, you go through college, you go through all these things, you pass tests, you get an A or a B, even a C. And when you do that, they give you the impression that you're smart, that you know something, that you're not going to be conned. Yeah, it's the process of getting the right answer. In your desire body, you believe that by getting this right answer, I'm going to go through life and I'm going to get all right answers. Yeah, I'm going to have this ability throughout my life. Yeah, and it doesn't really work that way. You know, you still go out, you make friends. Friends aren't numbers. Yeah. Friends aren't machines. They're not objects. Yeah. They change their minds. You know. They are what they are in their process in life. You know, and you never know what a person's going through. Reasons as to why they do what they do. Yeah. But, you know, in a materialistic world, and we're living with a desire body, you know, and we have a tendency to, you know, fall for being conned, you know, all throughout life. And yet, humanity is good. Humanity is not conning anybody. Humanity is lost, you know. They're lost. Yeah. Children are lost. Parents are lost. Yeah. So here we got this desire body thing, and we have people believing that we should get married and we should have relationships, and you know, and because that's a con, you know, there's no real plan set out saying that everybody is supposed to get married, that everybody's got a mate that's going to be honest and loving, and almost like they're born to be with you, and no problem, yeah. You know, you finish each other's sentence, yeah, just like in the movies. But that's not exactly how it works. Yeah. You know, people have their own minds, and they're busy with those minds, and they're busy with their life, and they're busy with their own desire body. Yeah. You know, so we live in this delusion. Yeah. And yet at the same time, we humans are good. Yeah. So despite the fact that we have no teaching, we have no direction, yeah, and we're being conned, yeah, yeah, we're being conned, yeah. We are born, we slide into a family, you know, we're a baby, you know, and the parents, you know, they're like, oh yeah, we're here together for this child. Yeah, and this is what we're going to be doing, you know. But then you find yourself not sleeping, you find yourself never having sex, you find yourself, you know, thinking, this is not what I signed up for. Yeah. You know, I was dating a pretty girl who was very interested in me, and you know, or I was dating a handsome guy who was very interested in me, you know. And boys and girls, you know, when we're dating, we're different. You know, when we're looking for people, we're different. Yeah, we get all dressed up and clean. You know, we get fancy. You know, we say better things than we normally say. You know, and you never know who you're getting. Yeah, because we put on our best clothes, and we put on our best mask, and we put on our best hairdo, and all these things, and yeah, and then we've got all this stuff going on inside that's unrequited love. You know, and you do not know what you should eat, so it's your unrequited food, nutrition. You know, you don't really know if you should get 8 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep or 3 hours of sleep. You know, you don't even know if you should live in a big house with lots of rooms, and because you can afford it. You know, if you just knew what you needed, you know, ground it out. You knew what you need, and it was the truth. Yeah, that would settle your desire body, and out of that, your response toward what is, you know, would be very different. Yeah. But we don't have that going on. You know, we with our desire body, we go outside of our body and look at other people's scenario. And we have jealousy, and we have enviousness. Yeah. And then we deceive people to make them think that we're just as good. Yeah. That we're just as happy. Yeah. And then it after a while, that doesn't work, you know. Yeah. The anger and the hostility and the frustration comes up. Yeah. Yeah. So there's in this process, we all go, oh, Black Lives Matters. And we go, oh, women's rights matters. And, pedophilia shouldn't happen, and, taking women and raping them or molesting them just simply because they want to get a job. Yeah. Taking advantage. Yeah. Using abilities that have to do with whether or not you have a job, whether or not you're going to become famous, yeah, whether or not you're pretty, yeah, or you're handsome, yeah. If they touch us in our desire body, we'll almost do anything. Yeah. So it is really difficult to teach humanity. It's a very difficult process, yeah, because of this desire body, and that desire body puts you in league with the process of like, imagine if you get influenced by a religious figure, and that any religious figure, they all, whatever it is, whether it be Elon Musk, as an individual, when he gets all excited, enthusiastic, and things like that, people get all excited, enthusiastic, and things like that. Yeah, they build in to an expectation, a desire body. Yeah, and then they also build up, a delusion of grandeur. Because the desire body is not being fulfilled. It's always in a state of expectation. So you're always looking for a savior, a hero. And you do that, whether it be, if you're a woman, you look at your movies, you listen to your music, you got these girls that they don't matter if they're good, it doesn't matter if they're really anything, but they stand out. They are empowered, supposedly, and supposedly that has something to do with just gender scenario of all us women need to get empowered, and we need to, do this and get in our economy right and get in our rights right and all this kind of stuff. And it really is a projection rather than a process of reality. And it comes from unrequited love. It comes from people who go through this process. You go through generations where a lot of our mothers and fathers, if you're old like me, if you're in your 60s and 70s, then a great deal of mothers and fathers at that time and earlier did not get divorced. They kind of pushed through it, and a lot of them, just abandoned. Mothers abandoned the family, fathers abandoned the family, and divorce was too hard. The court might say no. You may get stuck with alimony. All these things that are really a horrifying scenario, that it's almost like running from the law. And, how do you get out of this marriage? How does the wife tell her friends, that I didn't fall down and get this broken nose, when they lied and said I fell down and got my broken nose? No, my husband's never beat me, don't even mention it, or no, my wife hasn't beaten me, scream at me, humiliate me in front of my friends. No, that doesn't happen, but these things happen, and it's because of this desire body that's inside of every living person, and it creates these influences that keeps us from being able to move forward. Because these are really subtle things, very subtle. We go from one marriage to the next. They're that subtle. It's like trying on a jacket 10 times too big, and it attracts wet. You sweat, it stays in it, it doesn't dry. After a while, you're just going, this was a bad decision. And that's what a relationship's like. You just don't know. And when you take on a relationship, you literally take on a relationship. It comes onto your body. It goes inside your body. You have to sleep with this person. Yeah. You have to eat with this person. You have to talk with this person. You literally begin merging. Yeah. And what you're merging, you have no control over whatsoever. It just comes in. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you know, everything is disconnected. Yeah. You're not sure whether or not you should do this or that. And just simply because you've got this guy who, a lot of guys, are tyrants. You know, they don't like their women out without them. You know, because they might flirt or they might be flirted with. You know, and they won't allow, anybody to use their stuff. Yeah. You know, and these are things you don't consider would ever happen. Any person would be like that. And women are this way and men are this way. They're on their own. They're materialistic. On their own, they got their stuff. On their own, they're doing their thing. Yeah. If you know this person before they ever get married, you'll find out they're independent. You know, and they got their thing. Yeah. And you should spend many years getting to befriend these people before you get into bed with them, you know, and consider, because one kiss, one flirt, moving to the next stage, literally makes it almost impossible for the mind and the emotional body and the physical body not connect into that delusion. Yeah, that this is what I'm here for. I'm here to fulfill my desire body. That's it. I'm here to fulfill my desire body. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with relationships. There's nothing wrong with loving people. There's nothing wrong with having children. All of that is fine and dandy. Yeah. But not if you're sick. Yeah. Not if you're 18 years old or 17 years old or even 22 years old. Yeah. Yeah. You just don't know what you're getting into. Yeah. And you barely can pass through the process of life without taking it on, like tattoos. Like, the millennial clothing process. Certain types of clothes has to be worn, Certain ways of thinking, oh, this is my group, my millennial group. Them's over 40 and 50. They ruined our earth. I'm very angry with them people. It's a mindset of the desire body that locks us in as though we're born in these things. Yeah. And we're really not. Yeah. We are reincarnates. Yeah. The people you meet, imagine you reincarnated. If we've been here 50,000 years, yeah, just even that's the shortest amount of time a human, run around with conscious thinking, writing, all this kind of stuff, yeah, where we can collectively build a soul. That's the only thing we can go back in history and see. This is possible. 50,000 years, that's possible, yeah, yeah, and we reincarnate. Take that one in. We reincarnate. We reincarnate about every 40 to 60 years. On average, we reincarnate like that. And when we reincarnate with a mom and a dad, yeah? And it's the way we get in, yeah? So here we are. We got moms and dads. There's one incarnation, a mom and a dad. Likely you're going to have one or two brothers and sisters. And you're going to grow up your whole life with this group, with these people, yeah? And then you're going to have aunts and uncles and friends and neighbors and all kinds of things. That's going to be your life. These are going to be your friends and relationships in your life. And it meant everything to you. Everything. Yeah? Unless you were sick and alone and, then that life is all stuck in yourself. Yeah? And there's a lot of people stuck in that way. But most people go through this process of developing relationships within our life, one life, yeah? And over 50,000 years, and say we live 40 years. Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. So that's a lot. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of lives that we would have. And each one with a different family, not the same family, not the same mom, not the same dad, not the same brother and sister. Yeah. You do that many times. Now, go outside. Meet the people you meet. And you tell me that person isn't your brother or your mother or your sister or your cousin who you loved and cherished and took care of and everything. Yeah? For tens of thousands of lives, the masses of people. There's no such thing as we meet exactly the same people. Yeah? We're collectively being put through this process. Yeah? Massively. Yeah? So all of us have this relationship with people. It's not based on us actually getting married and finding the right person or things like that. But it's based on reincarnation. We reincarnate. So now if we get to really understand this, that we reincarnate, and that the people we come in contact with are not the people that are fulfilling our desire body. Yeah. And the things that are made in this world are not things necessarily there to fulfill our desire body. Yeah. They have other reasons, and they're not really fulfilling the reasons for the future. Yeah. Let's say in the future, we have a minimal life. We've almost wiped out the ocean. We've almost wiped out humanity and their health and their relationships of pesticides and gases coming out of the ground and, all the different things that we as humanity have done that makes things weaker for everybody. Yeah. So all of that is a process that we have to clean up. Yeah. There's not one oil well that we can't go back to. We have to go back to. And we have to seal it, put a sealing around it, monitor the gas that's coming out it and around it, and the gas that's in the ground that's seeping out. We have to do that in every single oil well. Every single one. Yeah. But where are we in this? We are not. We are not doing that. We're just now, today, at this time, starting to become aware of the fact that most of the methane gas that comes out of the earth comes out of those oil wells in large amounts, pouring out. Yeah, every single one of them. You just walk by it and you'll smell it really bad. And if you close it off and let it really build up and put a cap there and take that cap off, it comes out and goes 100 feet and an enormous pressure and an enormous amount of gas. Yeah, and all this is just pouring right now without any controls. Yeah, and this is just one thing environmentally that we did. One thing that we did. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of other things that we're doing. We're overfishing. We're doing so many things. Yeah, because of our desire body. Yeah, our desire body has to switch over to a place in which we fulfill the needs of others. Yeah, yeah. And imagine here 100 years from now, maybe 200-300 years from now, we finally get this reincarnation thing. Yeah. And our moms and dads and everybody is aware. And after a while, we start getting deja vu, telepathy, and, auspicious revelations. Many, many, many children, because we have this in our aura, our desire body is so much smaller. Yeah. And our insight, our ability to be open-minded. Yeah. Without a desire body of expectation and lower mind and all these things that moves us to get what we want. Yeah. Yeah. Where in reality, God provides. Yeah. Our problem is that we're stepping in front of God. Yeah. And we're not taking any relationship to, how it is God might be providing this situation. Yeah. what would make it possible for us to do this healing? 200-300 years from now, maybe we'll get to a point to where we understand reincarnation enough, yeah, and we have released, dramatically, from process of having to be in relationships that are based on having children and are based on, sex, based on sexual attraction, based in, and I'm not talking about a dead world where no one feels sexy and no one has sex, and that's not real. It's just that everything has its moment, everything has its time, everything has its purpose. We can't sit around and eat all day long just because we have a desire body. And we shouldn't be allowing pollutants to come out of the earth and destroy the earth or humanity who lives anywhere in those locations, which are farmers. People who live outside of cities are dying in the waters and, their farms, their drinking water, all of that is being polluted. And we can't really come to this place to where we have to fix a lot of things. And as long as we're putting all of our energy into this desire body thing, we're going to have a constant process of separation between gender. Because we don't know that through love, and by being a loving person and developing self-love, self-realization, finding fault in yourself and all these different things, they kind of go away, and they heal because your desire body, relaxes, As this process kind of grows and people become more and more awake, then the desire body changes, from what's known as a desire body, which is the things that we need because we are having unrequited love and all these things that in many lives we didn't get. But all of every life, throughout it, God moved us. God put us. So it's in that process of our normal daily existence that our desire body gets in the way. So imagine, here we have Trump, and I have to try and explain to you about Trump, and there's half of the people in the United States voted for this guy. And that's because their process is very much aligned to this desire body process, which means it's based on hate. The desire bodies is not based on love. It's based on unrequited. It's based on every action you've taken and every action that's taken against you at any given time is a scar on your soul. And the desire body is the expression of that. And it's like a baby, you just shake and you cry, and after a while it really affects you, and you cannot have a relationship with another person. There's so many things wrong. So the first thing it does, it causes you to be attracted to the wrong person. So a lot of girls are attracted to bad guys. Guys who want to put on tattoos. Guys who want to act more aggressive and stand out more and do stuff, that are dangerous. Not the brightest guy on the block. But the guy with the biggest car. The guy with the most money. The guy with the big ticket job. The guy with tattoos and all these things that fit that desire body of unrequited love when it comes down to the astral plane of massive amount of people making wrong decisions. You know, their desire bodies are being controlled by a collective illusion, a collective delusion. Yeah. So we go through this process, and our real truth is that we reincarnate, and we have every single person. I don't care if it's on an airplane. I don't care if it's at a toilet, or Burger King standing in line. It could be your mom, your dad, your aunt, your cousins, a lot of moms and dads. A lot of people go around and around and around. They've been your brother, then they've been your mother, then all these things happen because that's what our life is. We have mothers, we have fathers, we have brothers, we have sisters. So in reincarnation, that reality is fulfilling. But we have to take on reincarnation. If we take on reincarnation and we understand what I just said, we cannot do harm to a living soul. It would be the same as going over to your 8-year-old child who you love all the time. And however you feel about this person you don't know, who's bothering you and saying weird things or whatever, and your reaction is a reaction of unrequited love, long lost love. And we're all in that. We got to heal it. We gotta begin taking a stance of opening ourselves up to the reality of reincarnation. And there isn't anybody who wasn't your mother and father, who wasn't your brother and sister. And there's been a lot of bad mothers and fathers and a lot of bad brothers and sisters, but it's still in the cycle of truth. We don't come out of the sky. We come through family. Families is everything. Especially in reincarnation. If we can understand that all of life is a family. And I don't care what country you're from, whether you're black or you're Asian or Filipino or whatever, we still come around in the family. So there's no separation whatsoever. It's not about a gender thing. It's about reincarnation. Why we have delusion around gender, and why we have all these things that are trying to make up as to the reasons why we're unsatisfied. Why a boy thinks he's got to be a girl. Reincarnation. It's been suppressed for so long. And what if we do reincarnate from boy to girl? What if that happens? It doesn't. You find that in reincarnation, there isn't the biggest stratosphere of difference in genders. You're not losing out because you're a girl. You're not on top of the game because you're a guy. If we follow reincarnation. Because then we start having unconditional love. Only if we can apply understanding, really, daily, of how we deal with people. You don't try and figure out why they do what they do, where they're at, what they're doing what they're doing, whatever. Don't try and do that. Because that means that you have disregarded reincarnation dramatically. And now it's just all about, people, places, things, stuff like that. Small connections as to how the world's going about and stuff like that. But if you think of reincarnation, you give people freedom. To do the life they need to live, whatever it is. You don't know what it is. But if you can believe in reincarnation, you have to believe that these people are inwardly very wise and very capable. But if you don't believe in reincarnation, then you honestly believe they need you. They're going to lose out on not being directed by your greatness, yeah, of some special scenario, and it's not. Everybody reincarnates. Everybody has enormous facets of their own thing that's going on because of their many, 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 many reincarnations. Yeah? There's no way we can try and figure out what's going on with a person. It just take 50,000 years, and how many tens of hundreds, thousands of lives are going on this ride, of reincarnation. Every single life is dominant, yeah? But when you gain your enlightenment, when you gain more and more, and you wake up to reincarnation, you become more and more aware that people have been free from you for hundreds of thousands of lives, yeah? And they've come in and out of life with you or without you, and they're here today, just like you are. Yeah? So there's something else pulling this thread off of relationships and where people are at when you can't see them, when you don't know what they're doing or why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah? It has to do with their reincarnation. It doesn't have to do with whether or not you can figure out anything. Yeah? Because if we have this unconditional love, which doesn't, the other side goes, well, then that means you don't care, you're just going to, because then you find out something, then, you don't want to, all this kind of stuff that comes with, so many different things. Yeah. But it's in the process of reincarnation that we're able to bring up, some soulful qualities. And those soulful qualities keeps us from being attracted to the wrong people, the wrong place, going off and doing something at the wrong time, and being led into an astral illusion of relationships that are not based on reincarnation, yeah, but they're based on the process of control, manipulation, gender understanding. Yeah, because if you don't understand reincarnation, then you can't understand incarnation. You can't understand why you incarnated as a boy rather than a girl. And in your mind, you're going, well, where did I lose control? I must have chosen to be. And whatever I feel in my mind is my will. And it's got to be my soul thinking this. And that's not true. Yeah? And it's just that process of not being connected to reincarnation. Because if you get connected to reincarnation, you begin to settle in to what you've been given. Yeah? And you make better what you've been given. Yeah? You appreciate what you've been given. Yeah? If you're only 4'2", do the best with 4'2". Yeah? If you're 6'9", do the best with 6'9". Not a lot of people are 6'9". Could be a hazard. Yeah? Being able to identify and relate to yourself can only be done by an understanding of reincarnation. Yeah. And if we understand reincarnation, then the Lord could teach. Because you want to know, you want to go on high. Everybody wants to jump in to be on the side of God, right next to God, know all the things God knows. As though you can go, hey, God, how is it there's a devil? What made the devil? Is there a devil in me? How do I get it out, God? Hey, God. So you go to your minister and you go, hey, minister. And as though he's God or as though he has a connection with God. And he tells you crap that you really shouldn't be hearing. And whether or not you're going one direction, whether it be the church, or you're going another direction, whether you be a person who just believes in intellectualizing, reasoning, whether it be psychology or anthropology or some kind of thing that makes people believe that God's in the machine. And because God's in a machine, and there is no God, as long as If we put everything in mechanical reality, as though we could figure it out, yeah, you can skip God, because that's God in the machine. It's you living life as though God is a machine, and just skip God. Leave the God in the machine out part. God in the machine, according to everything, it's all a machine. So then you go on to these really intelligent people, and they go, "Oh, we're all in AI, you know. This is all a digital, software game. This isn't real. We're in a matrix. There's a glitch every once in a while. You can catch it. Yeah, that's God in the machine again. Yeah, and you just, you're trying to make sense of something that is so far beyond you. Trying to literally figure out God. Yeah, but the teaching, in order to figure out God, is reincarnation. That's the only teaching that'll help you figure out God. Because that way you can not relate to people in the way that you did. And that allows God to possibly take a physical incarnation. Yeah. Because inside of reality of humanity, when we wake up, our desire body turns to soul. And that becomes an attractive thought form building. Yeah, you become aware of God. You become aware of God's presence. You become aware of the fact God incarnates, has many incarnations. Yeah, and when you start studying, and you have to study the past, and it has to do with previous incarnations. Yeah, when you deal with God. Yeah. So how is it you go toward religion? Yeah. And you go to a church that doesn't believe in reincarnation. So therefore, they can't believe in God. Because God is all about reincarnation. Yeah? Jesus. Who's Jesus? The incarnation of God. Yeah? Who's Krishna? The incarnation of God. Yeah? And who's Buddha? The incarnation of God. Yeah, these are incarnations. Yeah, they don't come out of the sky. Yeah, they don't come, just in some fantasy mythological way. They come in family. Yeah, they come in a way that it affects the reincarnation of everybody. Yeah, if there's an incarnation, Jesus. Yeah, so we know Mary, we know Joseph. Whoa, what a trip they went through. Why? Because none of us expect the incarnation. We're not thinking incarnation. Yeah, we're just thinking we're animals. And we pop these little animals out of us, just like all the rest of the animals. Yeah. And you can't think God, you can't think Avatar, you can't think an angel needs to take an incarnation. Can't think it. Yeah. And until you come to realize incarnation, reincarnation, and put yourself in the metaphysical experience, break all the myths, break all of it. When you do that, you get the blessing that you are reincarnating with the Lord. And that's how you wake up. Yeah. Or if you don't do that, if you don't come to that awakening, you don't really get it. Yeah. And you got to really work on it, because you go talk to someone, and they're going, well, I've thought about reincarnation. I've heard of people reincarnating, some rare cases. It's not rare. There are psychologists that have tens of thousands of cases of people reincarnating. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a pretty common thing nowadays, to know it, to be able to research it, and not just have a mythological thing. Well, yeah, there's been this and there's been that. So for all of us to be able to change our desire body, and have it come into the soul, it requires the ability to take this life, whatever life you're getting, and realize to be born as a human being is a major blessing. That you're born into the incarnate level of the avatar. The avatar doesn't look like a monkey, a horse, a cat, a dog, an insect, a fish. Yeah? The avatar looks like a human being. And every human being is made in the likeness of God. Yeah. And how are we ever going to be able to deal with life if we don't come to grips with reincarnation, and that we die and then we reincarnate? Yeah. So right now, every human being is closing the door. While they're alive, they're closing the door to reincarnation because they believe when they die, they die. Maybe I might reincarnate, maybe, but the chances are I die. Yeah. And I can't control where I go or how I'm going to go. That leaves you in an extremely confused scenario. And then you have society that goes, well, women don't have the right to vote. Black people are having an injustice going on in their life. I certainly don't want to incarnate as a black person. I certainly don't want to incarnate as a woman. Yeah. But you have no control over this. Yeah. The blessing is the reincarnation. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could have been a true blessing for Hitler in his reincarnation. A man who hated black people so much. Hated them. If they lived in his country, they would have been in Auschwitz. Yeah. But instead he just got the Jews and the homosexuals. Yeah. But he was equally intolerant of the possibility that the closest human being to an ape, which he believed to be a black person, had any equality or standard of human quality to be considered anything other than a slave, anything other than a worker. Yeah. That's just how they think. Yeah. Because reincarnation we've been in this world for so long, we used to believe in reincarnation. Yeah. We built all the temples, the pyramid, everything is based on reincarnation. Yeah. If you study the pyramids, you go, wow, all these pharaohs put themselves in all these tombs thinking that they're going to reincarnate. Strange enough. Yeah. And you study the Tibetans, supposedly the highest masters in the world. Every single one of them believes in reincarnation. Every single one. Yeah. So we're really in a situation. It's just because Tibetans believe in reincarnation does not make them a better off person. Yeah. Because we reincarnate all around the world. And even though Tibetans reincarnate, they still have an enormous bias against other people. Chinese people, American people. Anybody who's not Tibetan, get out of here. If you're going to reincarnate, and you've been Tibetan, and you're going to reincarnate, you better reincarnate in a Tibetan body, or you won't be recognized. Yeah, and that's come up many a times in Tibetan Buddhism, and this is a place where people actually try and believe in reincarnation, and it's necessary to believe in reincarnation, not as a just an obligation, or something. It's because it's true. Yeah. We do reincarnate, but not in the way we reincarnate. Right now, we reincarnate without the wisdom or the life that comes with reincarnating. The blessing of reincarnating is that we reincarnate over and over and over again in new families with new relationships, and many of them are old, and that way our love is healed again without us knowing it. And without the commitment to have to get married and get divorced and hate and have to go through that and then have to live another life to work it out. Yeah? It doesn't matter if a person killed you in a robbery. You're going to have to work it out. And there was shit that went down in previous lives that brought that robbery into effect. That's life. That's truth. Yeah? We are not on a blind tunnel of illusion to where nothing in this world is a part of God. You know, everything in this world is a part of God. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. It's called the good, the true, and the beautiful. Yeah. It's just a matter of, do you believe in reincarnation? Because if you don't, yeah, it's ugly. And it's bad. Yeah. And you make it out to be good. You think it's good. Yeah. You want it to be good. Yeah. Oh, he's going to be a better guy than the last one. Yeah. She's going to be a real wonderful woman. Yeah. Oh. Oops. Well, I'll help her become a wonderful woman. I'll help him become a better man. Yeah. Because we don't have this ability for us of a right relationship through the soul. If we can get through this many lives in process, learning about reincarnation and learning about letting go and not falling in to the desire body, but let go. And if it's meant to go on, it's meant to continue, then it will continue coming back around. Yeah, and things won't be the way you think it should be, you know. But you will have given yourself more time to interrelate into a situation, and in that, you know, place where you're a little bit stepped back and you're not fully committed, you know, you can flow through this process and realize, oh, I missed a bullet there. Yeah. And it takes sometimes a couple years after saying, chill, man. Just chill. You know, take it easy. Be friends. You know, try going out to dinner. Let's see how the person deals with the waiter and a waitress and ordering and talking to people. Yeah. But don't go having sex beforehand, you know, because your whole illusion of how that person's going to think of you and how you're going to think of that person is gone. It's all a mess, you know? And now you're in a delusionary obligation to like each other. You know? No matter whether or not this person is an asshole at the table, not saying the right things, but because you had sex, because you kissed, because you flirted, you look away. Yeah? Instead you look at things that are attractive. Oh, she's pretty. Despite she's a bitch, but she's a pretty bitch. Yeah. You know? And a lot of people, you know, just go, well, you know, I'm tough. The benefits are well worth it. Yeah. And you're nuts. You're nuts. Yeah. And that's the way most, whether it be a job or a circumstance, few people can walk into a job, be there for a week or two, checking it out, doing your thing, you know, finding out that this man is a taskmaster. I joined Amazon because I thought, you know, yeah, there's good wages and there's all this and that. But holy mackerel, man, I'm fighting up a number constantly over my head, and it keeps going faster. You know, and I cannot box these boxes as fast as that number, you know, and I have to run. I can't run. You know, most people don't run. Yeah. But you join Amazon, now you're running. You know, so you're getting older, faster, sicker. Yeah. And, you know, it's hard for you to go, oh, I quit. Yeah, because it's under this thing. Everybody else isn't quitting. Yeah, and we get paid, and we got benefits, you know. And there's a lot of people out there that doesn't have a job, but no one knows the hell we're paying in this place in order to have those benefits, to have that circumstance. Yeah, you know. And without us being able to know reincarnation, that another job is just around the corner that would really fit you, yeah, or maybe you yourself would come to some dream or some kind of imaginary understanding that, hey, I have something that I could sell. Yeah? And I could sell. That's what I'm doing. I'm selling my time, my energy, so many things. Yeah? But our process is that we get caught in this situation inside of the world. Yeah? And our desire body moves us. And our friends move us. Our moms move us. When you getting married? When you going to have children? I got to be a grandmother before I'm 100. This whole process of pressure. Women, they're 35. The clock is ticking. Click, 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 click. I got to get married. I got to have my children. I got to... No. Wait a minute. I got a career ahead of me. I got to do my career. And how am I going to do that and this and that? Yeah. So that desire body, that influence is all about not reincarnating. It's about getting what you can get out of this life. Party it up. Take advantage of this life. Just accept who likes you. Oh, marry that person. They like you. They don't think you're the creep of the world. You're the one who thinks you're the creep of the world. The truth is that you're not. And you deserve a loving person. You deserve it. You should not have to go through the process of unloving to get to loving. And that's what marriage says. It says, marriage is really hard. Once you get married, it's really hard because it's a struggle. All these things come up and, you got to, go back and forth and, all this stuff. And it's not in any way, shape, or form that way. If people are in the right relationship. If people are able to hold a right relationship. But letting go is one of the main things of being able to hold a right relationship. Not getting into it in the first place. Letting go of it quickly. Realizing, no. I have a tendency to do shit like this. I have a tendency to be attracted. You got to get rid of that. Have a tendency to feel insecure, therefore I need somebody to be in my life, no matter who it is. You got to get rid of that. Because it'll weigh on you. You're going to look back at your life and go, how could I have done that? How could I have done that? How could I have married that person? How could I have done that to these children, and how could I, all these things, and in reincarnation, if we have that flowing and we're living our life the way reincarnation comes in, and we can be taught in relationships to all things in life based on reincarnation, then we would have a better telepathy, better intuition. But working out hardships due to your friends telling you should get married, imagine you're only 13 years old and you got your friend telling you, you should be dating this girl, some girl, or some girl should be dating some guy, Have you two had sex yet? I mean, they're only 13 years old, but yet you go to a school and you'll hear that question. And what level is that going on? And this is under peer pressure. It's not under an individual's pressure, it's under peer pressure. And that, then you go into your relationships and you have no idea, what's going to happen now that all this has come about. You're 15 years old, you're starting to have sex. You're 18 years old, you've had sex. And now you want to commit to a relationship because you're an old hat with sex, It's just like being married, That's usually supposed to come in around that time, not way before that time. But if things happen way before that time, then getting married is a nonchalant situation. Yeah, it's not connected to the soul. Yeah, where intuition comes in, discernment, and feeling, no, I'm better off not doing that. I'm going to commit to another year of college, or commit to a little bit more of getting myself together, change a few views that I've got that are really screwing me up. Yeah, because the tendency is you cannot attract the right people to you, and you can't find the right job. And until those things are healed, and reincarnation heals those things. Yeah, we're all here to care for each other. Yeah, we're all here. As we come into a right relationship, we become more than who we were. Yeah, yeah. We literally start adding on the influence of the soul of that person in your life, where in previous lives that has been cooperation. It has been a best friend. It has been someone who witnessed you in your hardship and helped you through it, and you did the same. Yeah, this happens a lot in all of our lives. Yeah, and those are the people you want to catch. They're the hardest ones, because on this astral plane bullshit place, you got your peers, you got your mom, you got your dad, you got your uncles, you got your cousins, and they're messing with you. They're thinking, oh, I bet that would be a good relationship. Or they're trying to figure out who would be a good for this person. Yeah, trying to figure out people. Yeah, trying to be God. In small ways, big ways, doesn't matter how you look at it. It is trying to be God. Yeah, and there's no reality behind reincarnation. There's no reality behind this individual has an enormous number of people that's just waiting to come into their life. Yeah, and if we have reincarnation, and if we instill love in ourselves and in other people, we're unconditional. Yeah, that unconditional gives us the ability to forgive and forget, rather than commit and then judge, because we can't make the commitment. Yeah. And you're making a commitment on something that, as though you know who this person is, what they do, and what they are, and as though you can read minds, as though you can tell a future, as though you can do all these things. It's God. Yeah. When in reality, God is doing this for you if you can chill. Yeah. And believe in reincarnation, and know that God provides relationships all throughout your life. Yeah? And they get only better as long as you discern and discriminate and don't make commitments on the lower level of the desire body. Because people will push you into it due to fear or a lack of unrequited love from mom or dad or cousins or aunts or anybody. You have no idea all the things that are in your life that's being hidden from you that's causing you harm. Yeah? You have no idea you've had a brother or a sister you never heard about. You have no idea all these things, that are in people's lives. But people don't talk about them. People don't share them. They just, go, well, it'd be better off if they didn't know. Yeah. And it's not true. We are a relationship of reincarnation. Yeah. And we are of everybody's life. Yeah. So let's imagine the reincarnation of Jesus. Yeah, and we have this December 25th, which is today. Yeah, and every day, if we really study, we'll instead of focusing on religion and all these things, you will be led to geomancy. Yeah, you'll be led to realize that God is so great, so much in command, that God controls the sun, the moon, our earth, its structure. Yeah, 365 days a year. God controls that willfully. Yeah, God thought it out, came up with the best plan, and sticks with it. Yeah, not changing his mind. God decided reincarnation. How did he do that? I will reincarnate. I will incarnate. I will reincarnate. And all those of humanity will do the same, because they're all coming out of God. They're unique human beings. Yeah? They're manifestations of angels. Yeah? Not animals. Yeah? Not even a demon. Yeah? But without reincarnation, yeah? Without us knowing that this enormous big thing called life is 100% controlled by God. Yeah? And we can't just go, oh, that person came to me because God sent that person to me. No, God wants you to ask questions. God wants you to discern, discriminate. God wants you to use your wits, use your soul. Yeah? Be aware. Yeah? Shine some light with patience and virtues. Yeah? Rather than jumping in. Yeah? If you use patience, if you develop your virtues, then every circumstance that comes up in a bad relationship, God will save you. Yeah? And that life will be blessed by your previous lives of all those who loved you. Yeah? And they'll come back into your life. I can promise you, you have no idea what God's will can do, but God's not in a position of just going, okay, I'll do this for you and I'll do this for you. But God will do it. Real magical stuff. Take a person, literally, take a person and physically reincarnate specifically for a purpose. Just like tukus. Yeah? And those tukus reincarnate inside of families that they incarnated from. Because God is part of that belief system. And reincarnation is inside that belief system. And God controls the relationships because it's so high of right relationship. You know, that's how we live in this world. In the hierarchy, we have that experience. In humanity, we don't get that experience. Yeah? It's shunned from us. You know, we're treated as though we're not gifted in God's grace. So we incarnate without purpose. Yeah. And occasionally, supposedly, people incarnate and have great gifts and powers and abilities. Yeah. But that's only because we are not settled into reincarnation. Yeah. When we come to wake up to reincarnation, we come to wake up to receiving love. Yeah. And in order to get to love, you got to be willing to not be attracted to the forces of evil, you know, that disguise themselves while you're in your desire body. Yeah. And so as long as you're in your desire body, forces of evil will come and they'll take you. Yeah. And they'll mess with your life. Yeah. And you'll think they're this and that, and those people have no will over themselves. Yeah. It's just tied up in this calamity of people fulfilling their desires and then just dropping people like they're nothing. People, family, places, yeah, earth. Yeah. Just like people drilling holes in the ground, getting all that money out of it and jumping up and down saying, yay. And then when it needs to be closed up, they leave it alone and let it just kill the earth and kill people around it. Yeah. Because the desire body is very different than the soul. Yeah. It leaves a wake of suffering. A wake. Yeah. From war to injustice to rape and, everything. Insanity of all levels. Yeah. And we don't deal with insanity very well. Yeah. Yeah. We give it, that's like the hardest thing in the world for people to deal with. And insanity is based on the reality of reincarnation. We're in a phenomenal world where we have situations and circumstances that constantly are at an edge of us getting a soul. Yeah. And there's so much in the suffering of every gland and every organ and every chakra, all the things that we have when we have a soul. And when we're not in that place, the suffering is beyond your wildest imagination. Glands create insanity. A lack of hormones distributed in the wrong direction creates insanity. Yeah? It wears the brain out, doesn't allow the brain to function in certain ways. It makes us aggressive. Yeah? It makes us manipulate and harm other people. Yeah? It makes us just totally not the person we are. And that's just glands. That's just hormones. Yeah? And that's caused by our lack of vitality. You know, we need these chakras. We need these things that come with our initiations in order to bring about reincarnation and the benefit that comes from reincarnation. Yeah? So everything, every relationship we take on, if we can move through this reincarnated reality and wake up, yeah. And how do you know you woke up? Yeah, well, it's me. I mean, I'm the guy that, turns the wheel. I'm the guy that is awake. Yeah. And so I deal with the process of the fact that there is this dark lodge. Yeah. And you have a guy named Trump. Yeah. And he is more evil than you can imagine. And yet the body that doesn't live in many lives of reincarnation doesn't realize this, that this person is back, and these evil things are coming, And as we get closer and closer to that, we discern much quicker, way before any of this ever happens, while we're reincarnated. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. So I'm seeing Michael Jackson, I see, all these different people who's had previous incarnations, and everybody, every single person does not see these people. They don't see them, even though they are who they are. And they're from previous incarnations that have harmed millions of people. Millions of people. And if you look at their previous lives before that, same thing. Yeah. So there's not a lot, that's different in these people when they reincarnate, but it's inside them. Yeah. But if you're messed up in a desire body, then Trump can come along and he can go, hey, look at me, I'm a playboy. Hey, look at me, I'm a rich millionaire. I'm born in fame and glory and playboy. And in those days we had Penthouse, we had Playboy, we had all these different people, from movie stars and everybody. Everybody in their desire body desired those people to live that life. Yeah? To have all these different mansions and have all these different people. And just, they marry one, every actor, you'd watch it, they get married. Well, it only lasts 3 years. Why? Because they're inside the desire body. Yeah? And everybody's pushing their desires at them because they're fans, they're fanatic, they're living out their desire body through these people living out their desire body, and everybody loses. Yeah? All these people go in and out of relationships. And if you study their history, their heart was broken so many times, and they almost committed suicide. And, all the fans are going, oh, they're so wonderful, their life is so great. But the truth is, once they've died, and you look at it, and you read, and you understand, and you talk to their friends, and their ex-husbands, and their people who are their friends, and you kind of find out, holy mackerel, those events ripped them apart. Yeah, just like everybody thinks, well, the Beatles, What happened to the Beatles? These people were amazing. Yeah, reincarnation. During a time of a large mass of people believing in reincarnation brought together a collective body of people and a larger numbers of people that reincarnated who then also believed in reincarnation. Yeah, the Beatles were a part of that. George Harrison, their hippie thought form, and all the peoples in the hippies were all thinking reincarnation. So it really opened the door more to lovers from reincarnation, people who loved each other. Yeah. When John and Paul found each other, yeah, they were the best of friends, and they could do things, play music, yeah, just the way each one wanted to do. And they had no problem doing it, yeah, because they bounced off of each other, and they become something more, being together, not less, but more, yeah. So that made them want to be together, yeah. And then they get one more guy, yeah, George, yeah, and he's the same way. And all of a sudden, he could do what they can't do. And by him being a part of the group, all of a sudden, they can do more. Yeah? This is because 3 people are reincarnated who love each other. And because of the love, it's not the kind of love you have if you're gay or if you're a normal person. It's the kind of love you have that's creative, active intelligence. Yeah? Love that you see problems with other people and you want to talk about it. Yeah? You want to change it. Yeah? So you write these songs and you say love and you, oh yeah, 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 all these kind of things. Yeah? So then they want to build a band, right? Yeah. But the problem is that their drummer is under delusions of grandeur. He thinks he's like a rock and roll king. Yeah? And because he has that aura, yeah, then everybody loves him and not the Beatles. Right? You don't know this, because you weren't there at that time. I was, yeah. So this process goes on, and they're like, holy mackerel, what are we going to do with this guy? We're going to have to let him go. And then they find Ringo, and they ask Ringo to come over and can you play for us? And they knew he was going to be great, And they loved each other so much, that they just sent their manager over and told the guy, you're no longer done. Yeah? But love can do that for you. Love can help you untangle a situation. Yeah? And it's hard to do. Yeah? Really hard because of commitment, because of what you think is a friendship. Yeah? But it's really not a friendship. This person would have destroyed the friendships, by having a delusion of grandeur and not being about the group, of being about himself. Yeah? So we then got to experience the Beatles. So what happens? The Beatles goes on and on and on. But what happens? In comes this lady, Yoko Ono. And she's a singer and a producer, And she wants to scream. That's what she wants to do. She wants to scream. That's her way of making music, is screaming loud, While you're playing your drums and you're doing your guitar and you're trying to make some music between people, this lady's over here, just screaming, And they're like, John likes her a lot, he brings her to the studio, and they're trying to build on their last album, which at that time it wasn't the last album, And they're just working on it, but she's sitting there and she's going, so let me have a place to sing. Give me a microphone. Paul's going, whoa, that's not happening. And John's going, nothing, totally ignoring it, And then George is going, do you really think she wants to be in the band? And then they find out, no, she doesn't want to be in the band. She wants the band to end. She wants John to close the band off. And this is many times, this is in recording, many times she said it, It's not about the band anymore, it's about Yoko Ono. It's about Yoko Ono, And her effect on John. That's what she says, So I don't want to hear anything about the Beatles. I don't like it. I don't like hearing about it. It's just boring. That's what she says, So she continues. She doesn't stop, It goes on and on and on and on and on. So what this does is that this brings in someone who had harmed all these people and many, many other people back. And because there wasn't the ability to let go, suffering that needed to be because of the previous life, it comes back around. How well do you deal with it? Circumstances like that come up. They come up because you were tortured in that life. They tortured you in that life, raped you incessantly, beat you, wouldn't allow you to go out. They were a tyrant in your own home. Many people live like that. What happens after you die and you reincarnate? Do you come across that person again? Yeah. And when you're in the middle of doing something that's really good for you and everybody else, is that the time this piece of shit comes up? Comes back into your life and pops in? Yes. Yeah. That's what happens. Yeah. And it's not just karma, it's reincarnation. We can't change reincarnation other through the incarnation, the one that we're in. Yeah. And you need to hear what I'm saying so that you can have this ability, to give yourself a lot of credibility that you are good. Yeah. Yeah. When someone comes up to you, I need to give you a hug. What you need to say is, I'm good. Yeah. You don't, this, even the subtlest of a sexual process, yeah, can destroy you. Yeah. It pushes you into so many processes, that you can't get out of. Because your mind is thinking down rather than up. Yeah, so it takes quite a bit. And that's in a person. If they don't think they're healthy, beautiful, an attractive person to themselves, to whatever degree that you can be attractive, work on it and make yourself attractive to yourself. Not for other people, but for yourself. Yeah? And if you do that, you're actually breaking the bad relationship you've had with yourself. It's reincarnation. Yeah? And you just look around you at all the people who are causing themselves to look bad. Yeah? Get old fast. Waste their life. Waste their glands. Waste everything. And all that comes back in the next life if we do not take care of it. And we have you have everything you need to fix your situation. It's all out there. Yeah, I provided so many answers and so much teaching and so many people waking up, sharing how they woke up, and how this is not the way you think it is. Yeah, that influence is where all of us need to move to, and getting through this process that no one's really aware of, this reincarnation reality. You're not aware of who this Dalai Lama is. Yeah. You're not aware of who Michael Jackson was. I mean, how many times would you be clapping and thinking wonderful things if he reincarnated as his last life? Yeah. I mean, here he is, little baby Hitler. Yeah. And he's 22 years old and he gets a little mustache. And he starts putting his uniform on and he starts doing his thing. And he's 33 years old and he's a pervert, just like he was when he was Hitler, And now he's a pervert and, he's doing all these things just as he did, but he looks like Hitler. And he acts like Hitler, And he's a Nazi and he wants to do this more, And all these things keep coming up, these processes that you have no idea. Well, what if he incarnates as a black person? Yeah. And that process cannot be externalized and it has to be hidden. Yeah. Just like gay people are behind, they don't come out in the open the way it used to be. Yeah. Where in this case, here you have people that cannot discern the reality of reincarnation because we've done that for so long. When they come back, it's just like in the Bible, folks. They will come back dressed and looking in a way that you will be attracted to them. You will accept them. Yeah? And Michael Jackson, here he was Hitler, killing people, total asshole, everything you can possibly imagine. He reincarnates and he makes himself out to be the Archangel Michael. giving people this impression that that's who he is. Got paintings all over his house, with that. Then he tells the little kids, well, I'm just a fairy, I'm just, well, fairies are gay, but nevertheless, he's Peter Pan, and he's unrequited. That's what he keeps saying. I'm unrequited love. I did not have a childhood. I was never loved, and therefore I need to reenact what I missed as a child, So all of that is just to cover up. We do that. We see that in all the pedophiles. Yeah. We see it on the news. You see everybody warning. These are the list of things pedophiles do. They have toys for kids. They have a little festival area downstairs. They have all the things they want to play with. They have candy. They have, the everything, and they get you to love them so much you can sleep with them. Yeah. And these are on the list of watch out. You may have a pedophile on your street. Watch out. Yeah. These are all the things Michael Jackson was. What is it that kept every single person from realizing, even though everybody said, I think he's gay and I think he's having sex with these little boys? All through it, everybody said it. Yeah. But how is it that we allowed him to have sex with those little boys? We allowed him to do it. Yeah. No one pulled the kids out of there. No one stopped him. No one put him in jail to keep him from doing it anymore. No, we allowed him to do it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same with this man Trump. You voted him as president. And he was right in the middle, when that happened, right in the middle of 5 felony cases of rape. 5. 2 were little girls under the age of 13. He was being interrogated for this just prior to being voted in. This is all on the news. Everybody heard about it. Yeah. Yeah. And we all know we caught him, on the bus saying, well, he grabs women in their, and he goes up and kisses women and grabs their breasts, does whatever he wants. Yeah. Why? Because he's a playboy. And then when his wife is told this, after he's had sex with a porn star and many other people, and she goes, oh my God, on the day that he's voted in for president, all this is found for sure. And she's like, what the hell? Yeah. These, doesn't matter who it is. This is bad. This is bad. Yeah. And we just watched it happen, wheeled it in, as though this is good. This is what we want as a playboy, what we want as a pervert. Yeah. What we want. Yeah. Because if you go back, if the guy from Playboy was to go into the Senate and want to become president, you would have voted him in. Yeah. Because it's about fans and religious dogma and people believing that, like in Trump's case, they literally had to throw God in there and say he was the anointed one, and that even though he's evil and acts evil, God chooses him to use him, even though he does all these things. And then they go, well, that happened before. In the Bible, God uses evil people. Wow, not really. God's never used an evil person, ever. Yeah. But that's the play. That's how it's played out. Yeah. And everybody is okay with things like that because we have a day-to-day reality with our own desire body that we're not dealing with reincarnation. We're going to churches on Sunday and believing in Jesus the Christ who incarnated, but according to that church, he is not going to reincarnate. He incarnated, and he's not going to reincarnate. Yeah. And none of us reincarnate. So much lies. Yeah. And that's the church. That's the church. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what church you go into. Yeah. You get all this stuff from people who are explaining something to you, they do not know what they're talking about. And they're in a state of dogma. Yeah? And they're set up in ways from previous incarnations of talking and doing things that they don't know what they're talking about. But they would create social systems or communisms or all kinds of isms to get people to fall into because they're false prophets. Yeah? Doesn't matter if they're a politician or a religious leader or an economist who's very rich and running a company. They're false prophets. Yeah? And the way in which things are going is from previous life false prophets. And we, in our reincarnated state of consciousness, we have to be at a place to where we come to realize this. Yeah? And it's only at that time when I give teachings like this, it starts to hit. Yeah? Because we have previous lives. Yeah? These teachings are part of previous lives. They're the only teachings you ever hear. Whoop, I'm back. You die, you come right back. That's a teaching, folks. Yeah? That's a teaching. Yeah? But what if you subconsciously are devoid of that after your 5th or 6th birthday? And you have no inkling of it. It's been wiped out of you because everybody talks about this religion or everybody talks about this and that, and then we all have Christmas, and then we have Easter and our little bunny, and we've got our Santa Claus, and, you know, pretty confusing. Yeah, pretty darn confusing. Nothing's actually connecting together the reality that we reincarnate, and this is a metaphysical, mystical miracle. The whole thing. Yeah. And we are losing it. We are not experiencing the mystery behind the miracle. Yeah? We're stepping in front of God. We're not letting go, let God. Yeah? That's a good one. Yeah? Yeah? But what is it you're going to let go of? Not your desire body. Yeah? Because you just go, well, God wants me to do this. Yeah? God wants me to do heroin. Yeah. God needs me to drink. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people on TV who live a long time after drinking, so God must be involved with drinking. People have a very interesting mind. Yeah. Rationalizing as much as we can because we don't have the value of reincarnation, previous lives, the wisdom that comes from the past or previous lives. You can't imagine when we wake up, we're flooded with our previous life wisdom. And you have a lot of wisdom, and your only teacher has only been one avatar. So that takes you away from all the false prophets and it allows you to receive the radiation transmission of the plan. Yeah. And it doesn't allow us to be, manifest destiny, which is where we're at. Yeah. In manifest destiny, there is a cloud, a veil, that is manifested in order to create manifest destiny. Yeah. The incarnation of Oprah Winfrey, people like that, are lunar lords that help everybody believe in manifest destiny, that you are the God in control of the universe. You. Yeah? Yeah. Even though the person next to you is also the God in control of the universe. Yeah? And what they desire, they're expecting you to fulfill. And yet, where's your desire? Yeah, in this plan of illusion and delusion. Yeah. Yeah. Where there is no such thing as reincarnation or the avatar. That's a big missing subject. If you talk to Oprah Winfrey and you say, well, everybody's got to be forgiven by Jesus. And Jesus is the only avatar of God's incarnation that we can take service to. If you say that to her, she will flip out on you. She will go, what, you think the person sitting in Africa has to receive Jesus Christ before he's saved? Yes, ma'am. Yes, you do. But that doesn't mean some person's got to say, you got to believe in Jesus Christ. It's through reincarnation. And we come back together again. And we come to realize the Lord is incarnated, and we are incarnated, and the veil has been lifted. Yeah. But this veil is going to be here for a very long time if we can't realize people like Princess Diana when she incarnates. Who the hell is this person? Yeah. It's not the fairy tale you think it is. You make up names and characters for the people that exist today. I don't do that. I cannot do that. There's nothing I could do to change what it is I see. I see reincarnation. There is no such thing as a fantasy movie, you know. She could be called Princess Diana, but in her previous life, Aleister Crowley was not a princess. Yeah. But he did focus on the incarnation of Diana. Yeah. Dianetics, you know, L. Ron Hubbard and Aleister Crowley. Their whole formula was to bring about the incarnation of Diana by the mid-60s and bring her into the world as a queen or a king. Yeah. Manifesting the darkest imaginable karma, because we have no idea that this is a facade. You know, Aleister Crowley in a female body, harming everybody. Yeah, and the bad karma. Here she steps in to want to get married, and she has no relationship to this guy. She's Aleister Crowley. What relationship would she have with the queen or the king? Quite the opposite. Because he's 666. He's known for being 666, the incarnation of Satan. Yeah? Lived his entire life that way. Yeah? He lived in London, of course. Yeah? And he had a big red door. All of London, there was only one red door, and that was Aleister Crowley's house. Yeah? And it was the evilest place. No one could live there. Yeah? It's so demonically possessed. Yeah? But London is his focus. London was his way. The ruling class of the kingdom of this small little island, you know, like the mouse that roared, yeah, and do hideous things on planet Earth, and yet you're just this little bitty island with an enormous delusion of grandeur. Perfect place for the manifestation of Diana. Yeah, could be one of the last queens on Earth who are in higher levels of consciousness and in a democratic potential reality of the world, and they're still holding on to being king and queen, ruling money and ruling land and ruling nations. Yeah. So it's a perfect place for that incarnation. Not that she had a relationship with the king or the queen or the prince, but she had a relationship with Satan. And the throne seat of the queen is Satan's throne seat. So the focus was for her to become queen and take that seat. Yeah? And sit on that rock. And impress. And this is not a karmic thing. Yeah? This is something that's wielded in from previous life. While no one believes in Satan, no one believes in conjuring and manifesting. No one believes L. Ron Hubbard had anything to do with the Dark Lodge, and Dianetics isn't even said today. Yeah, but all of that has to do with why we had wars and why we have the situations we have and why the world is in the position it's in today. It's because we've been deceived. And people of the wrong people have put themselves in position with people that were in process of slowly but surely dissolving. Prince Charles never wanted to be king. Yeah? Never wanted to be king. And his situation was that he was 100% ready to relinquish the throne. 100% ready to give all of England back to democracy. He really, in his heart, that's what he wanted to do. Yeah? But he's got a family thing, Mom says no. Dad said no. Brothers, yeah, ain't happening. Yeah. So he was more or less thought of as a farmer, and a person who is just soft, on a lot of things. But not a reincarnated lunar lord. Just another person out of the wings of service. But not on a heavy-duty evil side. But in comes Diane, in comes many different things. Those things change a karmic wheel, for the outcome of society. And we have to discern and discriminate it. And there's no way we could have discerned and discriminate Diane. No way. There's no way anybody could have discerned and discriminate Michael Jackson. Oh, that's Hitler. No, there's no way you could have done it. But there was a reason why I incarnated and was put in a position to have to witness it and work the whole thing out so that I could transmit to you as a member of your family, the ability to view like this. And as you build this up in this life, it will become more when you're incarnate in your next life. And that's reincarnation. That's how we use through our collective consciousness and mainly through our ability to receive this second ray, and make changes. Do we have the ability to receive the transmission of what effect reincarnation has to do with closing the door of evil? And we're very close on that process. I'm really good at seeing all of it. And I'm not going anywhere as far as I can tell. And if I do, I come right back. So this view, my ability, is going to raise your vision inside of reincarnation. And it'll instill inside of humanity the ability to discern and discriminate and work out so that we don't have this coming around. Look at what Trump's doing right now. He created a situation to where when you're president, you have the ability to give people a pardon. Pardon me, Well, he gave a pardon to Krishna's father, who stole billions of people, millions of people, money, and real estate and all these really bad, illegal shit, And he went to prison for a darn good reason, He was caught, And that saved a lot of people from his continuation of doing this level of evil, Well, Trump felt, hey, I'm just going to pardon his ass. He is nothing personal. It's just that the man's evil. And his son-in-law, that's his father. So it's totally out of his will over anybody else. Over law, over order, over justice, over God, over people. This man is greater. He's greater. So he's going to pardon. And while he's doing that, he's going to commit to having people killed simultaneously. People shot or given drugs to die or electrocuted. He's made it legal for 5 different ways to kill people now, before he leaves office. And at the same time, he's got this whole process going on to where he's pardoning people. 26 people, I think. And he's not done yet. Because first he has to find the people who are guilty. He found 5 people, who's a part of this black water team, who are a bunch of very evil men that are of the military, and they are paid to be mercenaries. So this was done back during the time of 2 of our presidents, and the vice president was the head of Blackwater and groups like that. So all this is old, Yeah, this Blackwater thing, saying we're going to take troops out of Iraq, and we don't take troops out. We hire troops that you don't know about. We create a new military, a militia. Yeah, it's paid. We have corporations that are built. We take military people, put them into this training corps, and we call it Blackwater. Yeah, so that group of people can go in without any legal recourse against them for killing people. They're in the military. They can just shoot someone and say, well, they tried to shoot me. I'm in the military. That doesn't sound good. Yeah, so they use that as a defense. They use that as they have, like Trump, he can kill someone and get away with it. Well, that's the way it is when you believe you could do that for this reason. They believe the same in a military belief system, that they've been given the right to be in this way, and that allows it. Yeah. So he did this.
People who were talking to survivors, they are just absolutely shocked, stunned by this decision by President Trump.
The horror-filled memories of that day in September 2007 still haunt those who survived, whose physical scars may have healed, but who grapple with the psychological trauma nearly every day. I remember seeing a woman and her son. Their car was in front. It was on fire. She was crying out until she burnt to death with her son. Hassan Jabir Salman says, there was so much gunfire. It wasn't normal. Bodies just fell in the street. I wasn't wounded yet. I moved my car to get away, and I was shot multiple times. It was a sunny day in Baghdad, one where the population could almost pretend their country wasn't being ravaged by violence. But those illusions shatter quickly in Iraq. In an instant, a busy Baghdad roundabout, Al-Nusur Square, turned into a street of blood. Ali Abdul Razak was the youngest victim, just 9 years old. Shot in the head in the backseat of his car as his father helplessly watched him die. My son was the heart of our family, his father Muhammad told us years ago. The shooting rampage
These people
was
had no
carried out
weapons.
by what was then Blackwater.
They were just
a
driving
private
down the
security
street.
company notorious for its brutish and trigger-happy behavior. Blackwater claimed its personnel were under attack, though numerous eyewitness accounts said that was not true. From his hospital bed at the time, Salman had described how Blackwater operatives opened fire indiscriminately at civilians. No one fired at Blackwater. They were not attacked by gunmen. They were not targeted, he said. Salman traveled to the U.S. to testify almost 7 years after the massacre. In the end.
So, for what reason would he take people who killed people, terrorists from our country who go to another country, and simply in his mind, he's saying, we asked them to be there. And since we asked them to be there, they should not be subjected to these things. They went through this process, they defended the country, all delusionary, Where in reality, this happened in Vietnam, this happened in many different places, whether they be military or they be in this form, And when we have the opportunity and we catch these people and we need to do something about it, so that we can make laws that Blackwater can't do that. But if we don't catch these people and then bring them to court and put this into a court system, we actually can't establish laws to be able to say we need to make this illegal. And we need to make sure that they live by certain standards, that if we're going to employ these people, it has to be under a certain standard. And they will pay if they break the law. So that keeps them from killing people just to do it. But we don't do that. And our president gave 5 of these people that all had been, one was sentenced for life in prison, and the other ones had like 20 years. And all found guilty all with a lot of reasons to find these people guilty. But Trump decides he's just going to jump into the dirtiest water, yeah, that would humiliate and destroy any credibility the United States has in the world, yeah. Because here it is, we're supposed to be law-abiding people, yeah. We're Democrats. We fight for the rights of other people. We don't do shit like this, yeah. And if we do, we catch them and we judge them and we make sure that it doesn't go on. We change our laws to make sure that that's how it works. But in this case, it shows everybody that our laws are changing. Yeah, we're becoming less. Yeah, we're not at all lawful people. We don't believe in abiding by a law. We do it just because we want to. Yeah, and we should get away with it. You know, so all of this influence, this process that Trump is pulling off, he pulled out these people. He's doing this one here. This is another pardon.
And similar in theme to his pardons thus far in his administration, which has been the politically connected or cronies. Among the latest slew are Charlie Kushner, who just coincidentally happens to be the father of the president's son-in-law, Jared, along with two more people who were wrapped up in the Mueller probe. Paul Manafort, the president's 2016 campaign chairman, and Roger Stone, the president's longtime confidant. Now, keep in mind.
So that's a lot. You know, he's on his way out. No president has ever pardoned anything like this. And he has it in his mind he's going to pardon himself. He has it in his mind he's going to do that. Yeah. So he has it in his mind he's also going to pardon his daughter, his son-in-law, and his sons. Yeah. But first he has to get it in his head. What is it they did that's illegal that they need to be pardoned for? Yeah. So he has to come up with that. Yeah. And he's going to come up with it because they stole $130 million and they're going to get busted for it. And he can't pardon it. He can't pardon it. Yeah. And Kushner nearly created a war. Yeah. In Kuwait. Or Qatar. Yeah. Yeah. And he has this hotel, which is the most expensive, not a hotel, but a building, the most expensive building in the world. Yeah. $1.6 billion for this building, yeah? And not a person wants to live in it. Not a person wants to rent a room because it's 666. It's the house of the devil, yeah? And nobody wants a part of it, yeah? So he's stuck with it. He can't get anybody to get him a loan. He can't get anybody to rent or lease, you know? So he had to go to Iraq and work and create a war that would affect Qatar. And using that, he then went to Qatar and said, we can get that to stop if you give me $1.6 million so that I can pay my loan that I have to pay off this year. Yeah, had to pay it off. And there's no way. Nobody was going to give him a loan of any kind or buy the thing, right? So he does this. He goes to Qatar. He does this whole thing. They did start a war. They did a blockade. The United States did a blockade, yeah, and made it look really bad for another country that looked like they're blockading from that country, and that made Qatar look like they want to go to war, and make it look like the other country wanted to take advantage of Qatar. And none of this is really going on. It's all under the pressure of the U.S. and its influence. So this is what he did.
Have led a group of Middle Eastern countries to blockade Qatar, where America has an airbase. That is our security in the region. They had no prior knowledge of this. Tillerson immediately knew that the green light, Saudis would never have done this without support from the White House. It came from Jared. And what MBS wanted was he actually wanted to invade Qatar. It was worse than that because he wanted the Qataris' resources, which is why when he couldn't get hold of those, that's what actually then leads him to round up 6 of the 7 ruling branches of the Saudi royal family later in November. You know, it's all about money. Rex Tillerson said to Jared Kushner, Jared, have you noticed that the only branch, there are 7 ruling houses in Saudi Arabia. The only branch that MBS has not rounded up is his own. Don't you think it's statistically unlikely that they're not corrupt too? Jared didn't want to know. He didn't want to know when Tillerson told him how dangerous this was. And actually what Jared did was what MBS wanted him to do, which was fire Rex Tillerson. But there's an ironic twist to this tale. In the spring of 2018, MBS arrives in Washington, and the president asks him for $4 billion to help rebuilding Syria. And MBS says, I don't have that kind of money. This atrocious war in Yemen has cost the Saudis a lot, and oil prices fell. Well, Trump and Jared listened. The Qataris then arrived in Washington. And, you know, strategically, they offered Trump and Jared, they said, we've got plenty of money for whatever you want to do, but you need to end this support of this blockade. So what happens is that at exactly the sort of same time period, 666 Fifth Avenue, the Kushner's troubled building, gets an extraordinary deal that makes absolutely no sense. MBS says, I don't have that kind of money. This atrocious war in Yemen has cost the Saudis a lot, and oil prices fell. Well, Trump and Jared listened. The Qataris then arrived in Washington. And, you know, strategically, they offered Trump and Jared, they said, we've got plenty of money for whatever you want to do, but you need to end this support of this blockade. So what happens is that at exactly the sort of same time period, 666 Fifth Avenue, the Kushner's troubled building, gets an extraordinary deal that makes absolutely no sense. A Canadian firm whose second largest investor is the Qatari Investment Authority says it's going to lease this building that someone who's been involved in it said would be worth more valuable if it was just a pile of dirt. They're going to pay $1.3 billion, the 99-year lease, and they're going to pay all that lease up front. I mean, this is a deal that stinks. So, I mean, it seems hard. At the same time, the US changes its policy towards the blockade on Qatar. I mean, Congress is now, quite rightly, investigating this.
Yep. Kind of bizarre, huh? I mean, they paid a lease up front in cash of that $1 point some billion, the very amount of money that he owed in a loan. And not that he paid for the building just to buy it out, but no, he just gave money to pay off the leases, and nobody's moving into the building. That goes on, the story continues, and they talk about not one person moved into the building after this happened, but the lease was paid. Yeah. And simultaneously, a war was averted, a war was started, and a war was averted in order for him to get a loan for the evilest building in the world. Now imagine if this is ceremonial magic. Imagine if this is money magic and sex magic. Yeah? What if the part of sex magic is Trump? What if Trump is, in his own right, you know, we know he's a pedophile, he's a rapist, he's obsessed with sex, yeah? Has all his life. He's been obsessed with sex. So He just thinks the whole world is wrapped around him to be okay to be obsessed with sex and money. Yeah. So he's got sex magic and money magic. Yeah. Well, one thing you're missing is magic. You're missing the magic. What kind of magic? Yeah. Is that a magic that allows things to happen according to their desired body? And maybe that could be why you have a desired body? Because he has a desired body? And if you don't believe in reincarnation, what if the evilest being on earth is your ruler of your desired body? Yeah. So he's our president, yeah? And he's pardoning evilest people that he can, yeah? And he's killing as many people as he can. And he's got the coronavirus, which he just plays golf instead of doing anything about it. He won't take the shot, yeah? No one knows why, but for his reason, he won't take it. And that reason is because he's evil. Yeah. He has to stand out, having will over God. Yeah. And since you don't believe in God, then it's free will, people. And that's why he can be a playboy. That's why he can be the person he is. Because he's free to shoot someone and get away with it. Because you honestly believe God doesn't exist and free will does. Yeah. And that's where the desire body comes in. We are, all these false prophets take us away from our destiny and our relationship to our truth. And they give us so many commitments, a job, a place, a thing, a people, a hate, a jealousy, an enviousness, all these behaviors and actions that happen throughout our life. And it comes back on us. Yeah? And we have no idea why shit happens the way it does, and why we're all dying of cancer, and why we're having all these illnesses, and why we even die at such an early age. Where in reality, dying due to aging is not real. Yeah, we have a disease that begins happening throughout our body at many different levels because we didn't keep our body healthy. Yeah, and so these things take place. But aging, what if we're to live 200, 300, 400 years? What if we have history of Methuselah living 890 years? I mean, it's in the Bible, folks. It's got to be true. Yeah? Either that or that Bible's crazy. Yeah? And Adam living over 900 years. And Enoch living over 680 years. And he ascended to heaven. Yeah? So these are our forefathers. These are our truths. These people reincarnate. Yeah? And there are archetypes. They're in the Bible. They're a purpose of expression and a life that is involved in reincarnation. And it is the tree of life, of reincarnation, you must witness when you read the Bible. You have to go and look at Genesis and watch and witness the hundreds of years these people live and then reincarnate and come back and live again for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, 800-900 years, and they do this like 20 or 30 times. That's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. When you're only living 40 years, that's hundreds of thousands of lives. These are thousands of lives over hundreds of thousands of years. Does that make sense? Yeah. So wisdom is instilled in these archetypal beings. And they live a long time. And it's the nature of our life. Yeah. When it was time for the flood and wiping away of humanity, it was because none of them believed in God. None of them heard God. Yeah. Yeah. Enoch heard God because he was the child of God, literally, directly from Adam. Yeah. The guy who built the boat, he was a relative of that same family. Yeah. And that's why he knew. That's why he did what he did. And he was, 300-400 years old when he built that boat. So it has nothing to do with the life that we're living. If you can understand what I'm saying, it has to do with reincarnation. And if you are deceived, you will live short little lives of suffering, and you will live all your lives in the desire body to get out of it. And it won't work. Only through reincarnation, only through compassion, only through sharing and caring, by you knowing that every single person has to have been your mother or your father, your brother, your sister, yeah, and that they're just in a bad state. Yeah, and you cannot think differently. Yeah, if you go this separate route and leave out reincarnation, you'll lose your telepathy, you'll lose your soul, you'll lose your ability to love your fellow man. You'll lose it because you'll separate yourself from reality. And you will not know the people around you are your mother and father and reincarnations of your own life. Yeah. And we're all back. We just need to get rid of this illusion of false prophets. All these false priests out there, the Pope, the Dalai Lama, all these false priests, all these false leaders. Yeah. You don't go killing them. You just stop having faith in them. Yeah. Stop. Unless it's about reincarnation, unless it's about the simplicity of life, unless it's about minimalism, unless it's about saving the world, unless it's about, all these things that make us better people while we're alive, then don't mess with these people. Yeah. There's no such thing as prosperity, because you believe in God. God does not give you prosperity. And preachers are not meant to be gazillionaires. It's a hard world. And especially as a preacher, it's a really hard world because you give everything you have to the needy. It is what it is. Yeah. And if you're a preacher, that is what you do. And there is no such thing as you build a building and you collect money and you make yourself a nice house and you don't help anybody. You don't build churches. You don't build monasteries and schools. You don't feed masses of people that are teared down by communists and others who don't believe in God. Yeah. If you're a person of God, you try and help people want to be people of God. If you're St. Francis, you're led to be what you are, move to what you are, go to the nearest monastery that is no longer a monastery, and you rebuild it. And then you help people come back to it. And you pray. And churches are, things of God are not meant to be destroyed. Yeah. That's why the pyramid is the way it is, the way the temples lasted for hundreds, if not tens of thousands of years. Yeah. It's because they're not meant to be destroyed. God exists all the time, and we reincarnate, and we build these things to return to them and continue our life of worship with God. Yeah. All right, so let's pray. Merry Christmas, people. Okay. Got this little hat here I think I'll put on for your Christmas. Okay, repeat after me. Lord Jesus the Christ, thank you for bringing me here. Lord Jesus the Christ, I open my heart to you today. I invite you to come inside. Lord Jesus the Christ, come and save my life. Receive me today as a child of God. Forgive all my sins and write my name in the book of life. I give myself to you, my spirit, my soul, my body. Receive me, Jesus the Christ. Now, the devil, the blood of Jesus the Christ is against you. I command you now to leave me. I do not belong to you. I am God's property. Leave my life. I disassociate myself from you. I renounce every evil covenant I have entered in with you. In the name of Jesus the Christ, I have received salvation. I am a child of God. Amen. Okay, our meditation is going to be the great invocation. Good thing for Christmas. In the litanies, today is the day of the litanies of the 25th, and that's the day of birth. Yeah. And what that birth is that it is the recognition of reincarnation. Birth. I desire birth. Yeah. And in birth, in reincarnation, our purpose, due to the fact that we're human, we come as agents of God. Yeah. That is our only purpose. And our only experience in life is to overthrow evil. See it, discern it, and not follow it. Recognize false teaching and let it go. Yeah. Don't be attracted to it. Don't be angry at it. Let it go. Yeah. In everything, that comes with being able to discern, discriminate. It comes with the ability to bring ourselves out of this cloud that keeps us in fanaticism, that keeps us asleep, and the ability to receive the soul, and find ourselves reincarnated, and that God reincarnated us. And that means God reincarnated us for a purpose. And we can't look anymore of anybody as being special, chosen, and incarnated by God for God's purpose that's not a part of our purpose. Yeah? We're all incarnated by God. Yeah? The difficulty is that we have chosen not to believe in God at some point in time. Yeah? We've considered false prophets, we've followed and we've manipulated, and we justified our wrongness through the Bible. Yeah? Through religion, through dogma, in order to further our desire. Yeah? We even choose Trump and say God will use him just to further our desire to get a Republican in the office. Yeah? Because your grandfather was Republican and you're Republican, and you're far too controlled by your commitment of following an illusion. Yeah? And you all have the right to choose You know, whether or not you're going to go Republican or Democrat, and you can quit that and move right over to the other side. It should never be a problem. Yeah, but it is. And because we're so dogmatic, so fanatical, so into these false religions and these false realities of, oh, socialism is communism, and, oh, anything to do with that, even democracy, Democrats, is socialist. Yeah. And it's always, when the lie begins, yeah, it's a lie that is pushing you away from the light. Yeah. If these people say, oh, they're the evil ones, trust me, these are the evil ones. Yeah. You know, so it's difficult to not follow when you want to be on the right group. Yeah. And then you just got to let everything go. Oh, he's a child molester, he's a rapist, he's done all these things. Look at that wife he has, she's Russian. She says, what is going on here? His best friend is the head of Russia. He loves the Chinese, you know. What is going on? How is it possible he can say he's in love with North Korean? You know, come on. What is this possibility to have that in someone? Yeah. And all it is a group of people who need to further the Dark Lodge. They're the heads of the Dark Lodge, and they like each other. Yeah? Trump wants to be just like the North Korean dictator, and he wants all the military to behave accordingly. He wants to be just like the dictator of Russia, and he never wants to be told he's going to leave his office. Ever. As far as he's concerned, that's his office. Even after 8 years, he doesn't want to leave that office. He was actually saying, we should push for a third term. We should push for no limitation of terms. You know, a long, long time ago, that's the way it was. You know, and he's willing to push things back in that way. Yeah. So these are all things that I'm helping you with. Yeah. And they've been pushing this whole thing on and on and on. I am getting rid of Trump. Yeah. I am going to put him in prison. Yeah. I am going to change the outcome of this thing and move us forward and keep instilling in everybody the fact that we reincarnate. Yeah. And false prophets are false prophets. And all of our problems in the world are based on this energy. Yeah. So it's just a matter of time. And so let's do this prayer. Just relax and close your eyes. And when I say take a deep breath, we're going to begin the Om.
Let the forces of light bring illumination to mankind. Let the spirit of peace be spread abroad. May humanity of goodwill everywhere meet in a spirit of cooperation. May forgiveness on the part of all mankind be the keynote at this time. Let power attend the efforts of the great ones. So let it be, and help us do our part. inspiration issue forth. Let them bring secure to the sons of mankind. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and come say, come forth, O Mighty One. Let the souls of mankind awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of the woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O Mighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, a purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of mankind, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. The sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not to hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form, and let life and all events and bring forth to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavage be gone. Let love prevail. Let all mankind love.
Okay, just relax. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. Okay, I'm going to play this one video. And what it is, it's, I have a monastery in Leitong. That's the Maitreya Monastery for the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And it's the highest city in the world. And I built one monastery there. I have a previous monastery that's really old, being restructured. And all these are based around my incarnation. Yeah, but my incarnation becomes from a manifestation. So a lot of my manifestations manifest as, like with Logan Tuku and Nari Kamsen, it's involved with the fact that I've manifested through a rock. And I turn that rock into a statue that looks just like me. And all of that lineage, and this is the oldest lineage that goes back to Gautama Buddha, Milarepa, it goes into the Karmapa, and Logan Tuku of the original Karmapa, he is one of those Karmapas, and there were 5. At that time, no one could say there weren't 5. Yeah, so at that time, 2 of them were well known. The one that was the most well known was actually Logan Tuku. And he established an enormous blessing between Maitreya and Tara. Saw them in union as the influence of Mandarava and the influence of Padmasambhava. And that through that lineage, it kept showing these images, these realities of the incarnated qualities that one sees in meditation of the incarnation of Vajradhara and the female aspect of Vajradagini. Yeah. So that reality became his mind, his way of seeing things, and that manifested in, and this is all about reincarnation, so it manifested into thought form building as a form of destiny. And at that time, magic was very instilled in people. People were learning magic, and they were had what's known as siddha. So the Karmapa became very well known. He's very well known for his powers over elements and dark forces and things like that. So of this, all these people were magicians. Yeah. And he created the first statue of Tara, and it manifested the first statue of Maitreya. So this is Logan Tuku who does this. And on top of that is the lineage of all of Tibetan Buddhism that goes up to the seat of Maitreya, which is the first real manifestation of Vajradhara. You know, where there's never been a recognized incarnation of Vajradhara. It's always been emanations of any of the 5 manifestations of Buddha. Yeah, Amitabha, all these Buddhas. Yeah, so that includes Gautama Buddha, Milarepa, all these incarnations. So where does Maitreya come from? Maitreya is Vajradhara. Yeah, and so Maitreya is the original Buddha. Yeah, and he's first and last. Yeah, he's Alpha Omega. Yeah, he's everything that cannot be understood in Buddhism because he's a direct emanation of God, and he could talk about God. You know, up to that point, can't really talk about God because God is nothing. Yeah, and it has to come into the Word. Yeah, and on high to Vajradhara, that word is Vajradhara. Yeah, so those manifestations come into play, and all of that goes up into Ladakh, Latong. And in Latong, we have all the major lineages. We have the Sakya, we have all these Nyingmapa, we have the Galupa, we have all these major lineages that are there. And the center lineage is from Sakyamuni, yeah, Sakya, yeah. And that goes all the way back to Sakyamuni. Yeah, so this one is the one who recognized Maitreya. It was Sakyamuni. He's the one who knew Maitreya was going to come, and what the name of Maitreya was, and what the qualities and characteristics Maitreya would be. And then he began, through reincarnation, he brought all the students of Maitreya and the future incarnations of Padmasambhava, all the lives of those people that would become the disciples who would get to know these people, whether it be mother, father, cousins, aunts, uncles, all these people, all became disciples of Gautama Buddha. Yeah. And they lived that life, which meant that they had an incarnation that was involved with a great karmic scenario of right relationship of the highest degree, and it set them up, you know, for all through life, all the way to the point of Maitreya, so that when Padmasambhava came, it wouldn't be an empty situation. You know, when Jesus Christ came, it would not be an empty situation. He was immediately collected by Tibetans, recognized by Tibetans, enthroned by Tibetans as Maitreya. Yeah. So all of this is really in the documentation and the history inside of Buddhism when it's brought into Tibetan Buddhism. So in Ladakh, this is all well-known information that one studies when they're a master. Yeah. And the master that's in charge of this monastery is one of previous incarnations that was so close to Maitreya that when he meditated, Maitreya would appear for him, yeah, and give him blessings and acknowledge him from youth all the way up. And that happened in this life, yeah. He started seeing me in his meditations. He lived in a cave. He never came out. He was totally ascetic, had hair down to his feet. You know, it was just, you know, everybody's just going, wow, this is the wildest thing, you know. And yet it is normal in the yogi reality, the yogi tradition. And he was recapitulating his mastery even at a young age. Yeah. So in that process, he met Maitreya. So he brought Maitreya to Ladakh. Yeah. And he got everybody to realize Maitreya was incarnated, took an incarnation, that it's his teacher, and that he's going to bring him to Ladakh, and everybody's going to recognize and meet him and say hello to him, and they are going to build the monastery for Jesus the Christ. Jesus the Christ, yeah? And yet Buddhism is all about Buddhism, all about, you know, all these names that people believe is to be Buddha, yeah? Where in this case, this is being built to establish the connection between Jesus the Christ and Maitreya. So I'm going to show you they sent me this and for Christmas, so here you go. This is the monastery. That's kind of neat. Yeah. Yeah. So, despite all this illusion and delusion, and even though the Dalai Lama has done what the Dalai Lama has done, yeah, and still this is happening. Still this is being built. Yeah. And this is happening because you come to darshans. Yeah. And I use that money and I send it. Like last year I sent I collected in envelopes month after month after month after month. Every time I receive something I put it in envelopes and I fill up a bag. Yeah. And then I send it. So I send $500,000 after I've collected it over 2 years. I send it there. So we begin the process of building. But then we have to go through another 2 years to get China to agree in the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. And believe that Jesus Christ is coming to China and building a monastery in China to further reincarnation of people who have massively been disciples to Jesus the Christ in China. Yeah. And we'd all love to think that that's in America, and it is. But karma is karma. Reincarnation is reincarnation. And this isn't about the desire body. It is as it is. Yeah. So you let it play out. And what is the right relationship comes around. Yeah. And you don't go, well, it's got to turn out this way. And it's got to happen at this time, in this way. That never works. Yeah. It's God. Let go. Let God. Let it become what it's meant to be. You will receive visions. You will receive impression that it's in the right hands. It's moving in the right direction. But patience is what you're going to be instilled with. Because this is going against the Dark Lodge. Yeah. There's nowhere in Tibetan Buddhism did they want to build a Jesus the Christ monastery. That's not exactly on their list. Yeah. And there's no way the Dalai Lama is going to say, we have the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. That would serve a lot of people. If he would just declare that, write a book, put it out, have a conversation with me, shake hands, and we just go about our business. But he can't, because of his past incarnations and past relationship with the truth. And the truth is, he was very harmful. And he hurt a lot of people. And he did it again this year, in this life. Not this year, but in this life. You know? So there's a lot that he's done to disrupt the reincarnation of Christ and disrupt the process of destiny in masses of humanity. Yeah. So it's not the way you think it is. It's a clearing, a healing. Yeah. And there are a small master group of incarnates that are in Tibet and are in India and are in America that know of this process. And we are in a stage right now where externalization is happening. China has accepted me to build this monastery, and yet they kicked Tibetan Buddhism out. And they're allowing me to come in and take over Tibetan Buddhism. Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, we had major members of the government sitting in Leitong battling over the fact, you know, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. There's no way communists are going to allow this to happen. But after 2 years, they said, yes, we believe you're right. Yes, we're going to do this. And yes, what money you put into it, we will double it. So that's how much this has built up. Because the money I put into, now they are doubling it, which is really nice. And I would expect the same from every country that I do my service. Yeah, because I'm not, you know, the person who has the Learjet, and I'm not the person who has, you know, a credit card with millions of dollars on it, and I don't have people with millions of dollars giving me millions of dollars. You know, there's lots of people with millions of dollars, and they're not giving millions of dollars. There are a few people who have given a lot of money. You know, and from that it goes directly into building stupas, monasteries, furthering what it is that I'm doing. Yeah, you know, so, but there's no big mass. You know, this thing is not growing in the way that you would think it should be. Yeah. But it will, because we're coming out of this one area, that has to do with fanaticism, people being fans of the Dark Lodge. It's really bad when you're fans of the Dark Lodge. When you think Princess Diana is like the best thing you've ever seen, Michael Jackson is the coolest guy you ever knew, and all these things. And you cannot see it because your previous life was caught up in a delusion at that time by these wizards. Does that make sense? All right. So, enjoy. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you later.